This past Monday Night Raw was pretty good, and I mean, coming off one of the worst Raw after WrestleMania I've ever seen in my life, I honestly don't think we could get a show worse than that. Actually, I take that back because I don't want to challenge Vince McMahon to double down. But in all seriousness, Raw was good, and with all things being considered, with majority of the roster having travel issues, hence the reason why we saw so much SmackDown talent over on the Red brand.
Adrenaline in my soul, every fight out of control. Do it all again.
Raw would kick off with Rey Mysterio cutting a promo. He talks about the Hall of Fame ceremony in his match at WrestleMania. Dominic Mysterio would then interrupt and both men would trade words back and forth, which would lead to Rey challenging Dom to a WrestleMania rematch right there on Raw. But Dominic declines and says, "I don't want to fight my own father, but I know who will," and out comes Finn Balor to accept Rey's challenge on behalf of Dom. Now I think we all know the real reason why Dom didn't want to face Rey again. It's because he didn't subscribe to the channel just like you. So I sent Rey to give him a good spanking in front of 80,000 people, and now he subscribed. So follow the lead of ex-con Dom and hit that subscribe button, or I'll just have to send Rey to come spank you as well. But here we are, we get Rey versus Finn Balor to kick off Monday Night Raw. Would you look at that? Last week, the first match on the show was Omos versus Elias, and with Triple H running things this past Monday, we got a match that actually holds meaning and adds to the storyline. Don't you just love logical booking? Because I know I do. This was a good match. Rey looked good. Balor looked good, and the crowd was pretty into this match. Nothing too crazy, but Finn Balor would pick up the win thanks to the assist of Dominic Mysterio. After the match, we then see a backstage segment with Otis and the Maximum Male Models. Nothing going on there, but then the camera quickly cuts over to Liv Morgan and Raquel, who's standing over Trish Stratus, who seemingly has just been attacked, but they're trying to find out by who. We then see Becky and Trish come in, and they start to question Liv and Raquel, who were the only ones around, so of course they would assume that the women who were there facing later in tonight in the show could have been the ones who attacked Lita. We come back from commercial break and we get a recap on what happened between Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes on last week's episode of Raw, which still makes absolutely no sense as to why Brock would want to attack Cody Rhodes. And what they're still going with is that Brock was upset with his WrestleMania match placement as he went first in night 2 facing Omos, and Cody was in the main event. Now, if there's anybody Brock should be mad at, it's Vince, because he's the one who booked night 2, I'm pretty sure. Moving on, we see Byron Saxton backstage interview with Becky Lynch. She cuts a quick promo on the Lita attack. She says, well, Lita is in a local medical facility. There goes that Vince McMahon term again. She then says, but I promised these people a title match tonight, and the man always delivers on her promises. Becky says she was ready to go out there and defend those tag titles all by herself, but then Trish Stratus steps up and takes Lita's spot in the women's tag title match, teaming with Becky to take on Liv Morgan and Raquel. And I don't know, but I already knew that Trish was going to be the one who attacked Lita. It was already written, or maybe I was the only one that seen it, but it happened on later in the show. Now, this match was... let's just say that these 4 women do not work well together. This match was full of miscommunications and was very sloppy, but like I predicted, Liv Morgan and Raquel are the new women's tag team champions. And after the match, it was clear as day Trish Stratus was going to attack Becky and turn heel, because my god, they made it look so freaking obvious. And I might get some hate for this, but I don't care. I said this on Twitter and I'll say it here as well. Trish Stratus needs to officially retire, with all due respect. Kathy Kelly, my god, is this woman beautiful. She interviews the wise man Paul Heyman and asks him the question he avoided last week on Raw when Brock returned, if he knew that Brock was coming back, considering he was once the advocate for the Beast. Paul Heyman then goes to say, yes, I can provide insight to Brock Lesnar's actions. There you go, question asked, question answered. Not really an answer, he really just dodged the question again. He then asks his own question while doing a voice impression of Kathy Kelly that was absolutely horrible. Kathy sounds nothing like that. So I'm gonna need you to tone it down a little, Paul, because I don't tolerate disrespect towards Kathy Kelly, man. But Heyman says, what about tonight when Solo goes one-on-one against Kevin Owens? That's a great question, he says, giving himself a little pat on the back. Kevin Owens is not just a problem. Kevin Owens has a problem. Sami Zayn is not here tonight due to flight delays, and neither is Matt Riddle. Paul doesn't believe it, and he tells us what he really thinks about it. Paul would then give us another voice impression, but this time of Matt Riddle and Sami Zayn, and it goes a little like this. Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle were in the airport, and they both looked up and they said, bro, what are we doing tonight on Raw? And then Sami goes, Solo's looking for us. And they looked at each other and they went, maybe the later flight. What do you think? Paul Heyman basically just insinuates that Riddle and Sami booked a later flight to avoid Solo Sikoa. And hey, I don't blame them. He then goes to say that Kevin Owens isn't the brightest of the bunch, considering he didn't join Sammy and Riddle on just not showing up to the show, because now Kevin Owens goes into this match alone with no backup, and we know Solo is going to have backup because the Usos are there tonight, and they are going to take advantage of this opportunity to end the Kevin Owens problem, because why wouldn't they follow the Tribal Chief's orders, and the interview comes to a close. We get another backstage segment, or at least Byron Saxton tried to get an interview with Trish, but she says nothing and she just keeps on walking. Switching over to Damage Control backstage, we see Dakota Kai and Io Sky waiting for Bayley to come out of Adam Pearce's office. Dakota Kai is pacing around, wondering what's taking Bayley so long. She's been talking to Adam Pearce for a minute, and Io is just standing there like, I don't know either. They're both really frantic, more Dakota than Io, but you get the picture. Bayley finally exits the office and says, I went in there to talk to Adam about getting you to another shot at the tag team titles. But all this guy could talk about, and she says this with a huge smile on her face, all this guy could talk about was the WWE draft coming up, so she made sure that Adam Pearce knows that Damage Control needs to stay together. No, they don't. It's absolutely time for them to split up, and I'm 100% sure this will be the best thing for all three of their careers going forward. Bayley then tells Io and Dakota how she has another opportunity to possibly get another shot at the Raw Women's title in a triple threat match tonight against Piper Niven and Mia Yim, aka Michin. And man, you just had to see the displeasure and frustration on Dakota and Io's face when they heard that. And they both verbally express their displeasure as Io says no, and then she says something in Japanese. Dakota then says, I think she means what about us? And I need you to pay attention to the facial expressions of everyone in this segment, especially Bayley. She's just being stared down by Io and Dakota, who aren't pleased by Bayley's selfishness at the moment. Io tells Bayley, you've already had your opportunity. Dakota says it should be one of us, and Bayley says, okay, I didn't know you guys felt like that, and she goes back into the office to talk to Adam Pearce about one of them taking her place in the triple threat match tonight, and that's the end of that segment. Moving on to the next match of the night, we get Bronson Reed versus Bobby Lashley, and this match was sloppy, but not in a bad way. It was sloppy in a good way, which made it seem more legit, as these two men were just going at it. And it did end with a double countout, which I feel was the right call because, man, these two guys were beating the hell out of each other. And from the looks of it, this is only the beginning of a feud that should be good. And definitely will help more eyes get on Bronson Reed, and they definitely need to recover Bobby from the whole Bray Wyatt feud thing. So this should be great for both men. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes would then make his way out to the ring, and the crowd just continues to get louder and louder when the whoa part of Cody Rhodes' themes hits. So Seattle, what do you want to talk about? I love Cody, but I'm really getting tired of hearing that every week, man. But he then goes down the line of everything he's been through since he returned, and he reminisces about WrestleMania 39, his loss to Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes then brings up what Paul Heyman said last week. If Cody Rhodes is ever to challenge for the championship ever again, he's got to earn it. And then Cody Rhodes goes to say, earn it, I am it. The fans start to chant Cody's name. He then gets into what happened last week involving the Brock Lesnar attack. To sum things up, Cody challenges Brock Lesnar to a match at BackLash. And there you go, folks, your possibly main event match for BackLash, and just as I predicted. We then move into our next match as we see the Usos make their way out to the ring as they are set to take on Chad Gable and Otis of the Alpha Academy. Two of the best tag teams in the WWE are in the ring, so you know this match did not disappoint. And it didn't. This was a great tag team match. I honestly wish that Chad Gable and Otis were in a different position in the tag division because all these losses are just tainting how good of a team they are. They're damn near in the top 5 of greatest active teams in the WWE. They definitely need a good run with the tag titles before they split. Next matchup, we move into the women's triple threat between Io Sky, Piper Niven, and Mia Yim for the #1 contender shot at the Raw Women's title. Io Sky will pick up the win in this match, and what I really hoped you all paid attention to was how Bayley reacted when Io won. The slow claps from Bayley said it all. This was just a fun match. All three of these women were on their A game. Moving on to our main event, Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa, who comes out with the Usos, and he is ready for war. Now, I'm pretty sure you probably didn't even have to watch this match to know what would happen. Solo Sikoa would end up getting the win thanks to the Usos using their numbers advantage. But of course, at the end of the match, all doesn't end there because in the eyes of the Bloodline, the job still isn't finished. They attack Kevin Owens, and then we get a cut to the parking lot where we see Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle sprinting down towards the arena. Sami's music hits, and out comes both men, who are met in the middle by the Usos. Sami and Riddle handle that, and then both men set their targets on Solo Sikoa, who stands alone at the moment. He shows a little fight, but the numbers are too much for him. A Luva kick by Sami and a knee to the face. They send Solo over the top rope. Jay would then come back into the ring. Riddle hits him with a sequence of hits to the chest, followed by a knee to the face. Coming off the ropes, Sammy lands a exploder suplex, leaving Jay in the corner upside down. Sammy sets up for the haluva kick, but Jimmy would slide back into the ring to try to catch Sammy with a super kick, but he fails and Kevin Owens makes his way up and hits Jimmy with a stunner. Sammy goes for the haluva kick once again while Jay's still in the corner, but gets saved and pulled out of the ring by Solo. Then Solo tries to get back into the ring to continue the fight, but Riddle and Sammy didn't allow it. And that's the end of the show. We're definitely getting this 6-man tag match at BackLash, Bloodline versus KO and Riddle, and it should be a great match, man. Raw was a pretty good show, definitely was watchable, but that's it for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.